Good day, viewers. In our today's class, as you can see on the board, we have literature in English. In our today's class, we are going to be treating our first novel for this today, Harvest of Corruption, by a play by Frank Ogodo. That is the novel we are going to be treating. Then there are some things that we should be discussing. We are going to be discussing in the novel. Things like the background, the setting, the language, and the theme. These are the things that we're going to be discussing in the novel. Then the first one, we're talking about background. That is the background of the playwright. We said that Frank Ogodo came from a Cross River State. Take note. He's from Cross River State. He attended his secondary school in Lagos State before he went back to Federal School of Science, still in a state, that is Cross River. That is about the background. We said that he's from Cross River. Then he attended the Federal School of Arts, Cross River State. That is all about the background. Then, having talked about the background, we're going to be talking about the setting of the play. The location of the play is in Nigeria. Then there are enough indications and trace to show that the play is in Abuja. That is the federal capital. It is from the names, like the places mentioned in the play are not the actual names of the places. They are fiction. Places like Oyokoto and Chebu, they are all fictions. They are not real. But from the words, from the names and names like the Mighty, the Asurok mentioned in the play are important places in Abuja. The level of corruption shown in this play is obviously typical of Nigeria. The level of corruption that is displayed in this play is obviously that of a Nigerian. So, having talked about the background, the setting, we're going to be talking about what? The language. The language is so simple that any reader that comes by will understand what it talks about. In terms of language, the play is made simple. In that the language, the contents, the analysis, the theme are extensively treated as simple. It is extensively treated and very, very simple for any reader. Then in addition, they are treated under subheadings. Subheadings like a historical background. We talked about the background. The historical background, the author. The historical background of the author. The setting, act and scene, and the summary. The plot, the thematic analysis, characterization, and so on. To make it simpler and easier for any reader. So as to give students or reader in-depth insight into the play. These subheadings were made. It was taken so as to give the reader in-depth insight of the play. Then, having talked about this characterization, we are still going to talk about the theme. We haven't talked about the background, the setting, the language. We are going to be talking about the theme. The theme talks about the main points, the main things that were treated in the novel. Like one of the themes there is drug trafficking. Chief Adeamaka is a drug pusher. He uses his office and position to recruit young boys and girls as protocol officers and eventually use them in his crimes. Alo was apprehended at the airport and immediately arrested, but through Chief's connection she was released. Drug trafficking. As Alo was being employed to work as a protocol officer in Chief's office, not knowing, unknowingly to her that she was going to go into drug trafficking. She was going to be sent to go and deliver drugs. Along the line, she was caught. And because of the connection of her chief, the thief, she was when she was apprehended. When Allah was apprehended, the chief used his position to release her. So that is about the theme of drug trafficking. Another theme that was treated there is embezzlement. Embezzlements. Public funds are embezzled by this same chief. Public funds are embezzled by government officials through falsified documents and award of non-existing contracts. All this was done by this very Chief Ade Amaka. That is the chief that was causing all this havoc in the novel that we are talking about. Now, he will falsify documents and award of non-existing contracts. Then, this has delayed the development. Chief Ade Amaka and his concubines, or Charlie is one of them, were found guilty of embezzling huge sum of money in the External Affairs Ministry and were sentenced to various terms of imprisonment. They were not spared. The moment they found out that they were into embezzlement, they were imprisoned. Ochole, Madam Hoha, and the chief himself was imprisoned. Then another thing that we're going to learn about is patriotism. Patriotism, representing your nation very well, maintaining integrity. Then this was seen in the act of in the character of Yakubu and Inaku. We said that behavior showing high moral standard is seen in the life of Yakubu and Inaku. They show their love for their country, antagonizing they were antagonizing the chief. Still on the theme, we have talked about the theme of drug trafficking. We have talked about embezzlement by the chief. Then another thing we're talking about is patriotism and the side of Yakubu and Inaku. They showed their love for their country, antagonizing who were they antagonizing? Chief. They were trying to make sure that all the evil deeds done by this chief, that he faced the penalty. They antagonized Chief Ade Amaka and his criminal interests. They are angry at the level of corruption in the country and are resolute. They have decided to limit corruption. That is their own part in the play. They decided that no matter what it will take them, they are going to make sure that the extent of corruption, they limit it. They succeeded in destroying Chief Ade Amaka gang and then persecuting all those involved. So they succeeded in making sure that the chief was brought to book, in making sure that he suffered for what he was doing. Then another thing that we're talking about is bribery. Bribery. This occurs when people give or take money to influence their resolution on a matter brought to them. Commissioner Andrew and Justice Odele permit Chief Ade Amaka to buy their conscience with ill-gotten help. These were the commissioners that were after money. They collected bribe from the chief. They collected bribe from the chief, and whatever case that was brought before them, they handled it with a mixed feeling. In order for the chief to be set free, in order for the chief to be at the safer side, they collected bribe and they make sure that he didn't face the penalty for his misconduct and all that. They received bribe from him to safeguard his illegal business activity. They know quite well that the business that Chief Ade was into was illegal, and because they love money, Chief was giving them enough money. They were collecting bribe from him, and that was the team. That was when the team talked about bribing. Then another thing that was being mentioned here is unemployment. This was in the part of a law. This is a major social problem in the country. Unemployment. You see so many youths and all that, graduates, no work. This was exactly what happened to Allah that drove him to this wicked man that got her pregnant. That was the reason why Allah fell into the wrong hand of a chief and his gang. Allah graduated from the university with a good grade but could not get job. Chief offered her an illegal job of drug trafficking, which turns out to be a ticket to what? To hell. It led to her death. So the last but not the least thing that was treated here is a excessive indulgence in sex and alcohol. This was in the part of Madame Hoha, who owns the hotel. She owns the hotel that the chief normally take those boys and girls to. Then the Ochole herself, who was working with for the chief as well. So the three of them, they were into excessive drug, alcohol, and sex. So these were the 6 themes that was treated in the novel. We talked about drug trafficking, we talked about bribing, embezzlement, unemployment, excessive drug, excessive intake of drug. Then another thing we are going to be talking about is what? The characterization. We're going to be talking about the characterization of the novel. Here we're going to be talking about the man, that is the chief. The characterization, Chief Ade, he is a honorable minister of affairs and members of the executive cabinet in the country. He is a well-known person. He is occupying a very sensitive position in the government. He uses his position to embezzle public fund. He is absolute corrupt and spread the infection everywhere he goes. His embezzlement of fund hinders the development efforts of the government. Because he is at the helm of affairs, all the money that was given to him, he ended up embezzling those monies, and the monies that were meant to execute some projects, the projects were left undone because of the attitude of this very chief. So we should know that the chief in this novel, he didn't play a very good role at all. He was involved in so many evil. He is a smuggler. He imports illegal goods into the country and uses his connection in the police and the custom to cover drugs. That is when he talks about bribing. Then another character here is Alo. That's the victim here. We said that the chief and Alo is the protagonist of the novel. They're the main character in the novel. Then Alo is a devoted Christian. This very girl is a devoted Christian, a young university graduate who squats with a friend, Ogeyi. Her roommate's name is Ogeyi. They were staying together. A former schoolmate in the capital city in search of job. Ochele enters Elo's life and skills her zeal for God and love for spiritual holiness. Ochele, that is the young girl that decided to be working with the chief, decided to mingle with the chief in order to get whatever she wants. So the moment she came into the life of this Alo, the girl, still on Alo's character, we say that Alo is a devoted Christian, a young university graduate who squats with a friend, okay, and a former scholar in the capital city in search of a job. Then along the line, Elo met with a friend named Ocholo, who enters and kills her zeal for God and love for spiritual holiness. He becomes weak in the spirit. Then Elo runs into Ocholo, who helps her to secure a job in the minister's affairs. She is employed as a protocol officer to the minister. Elo ended up being used as a drug trafficking and was arrested on her first trip to America. She was a true Chief Adezamaka influence. She was She was built through the chief influence. Then another part Elo played here is he is a loser girl and a bad example in moral rectitude. She allows herself to be seduced and impregnated by a man and enough to be her father. This was as a result of the friend she started mingling with. Then Elo is greedy. easily what? Persuaded, cannot think beyond her nose. That is just the reason why she was lured into all this, because she is what? She is what? Greedy. She needs money by all means. Then she was easily persuaded, could not question a job offer that does not follow civic service process. As a graduate, the graduate she was, she would have been able to be able at least to ask certain questions concerning the job she got. She was eventually employed as protocol officer to Chief Ade, who uses her for personal motive for smuggling drugs, and to her first trip she was arrested, but later bailed through Chief Ade. She was impregnated for Chief, which eventually resulted to her untimely death. As a result of the pregnancy, she gave up the ghost. So she was that is her part of the play made the play a very great tragedy. It was a tragedy on her own side because she lost her life at the long run. Then another character we're going to be talking about here is Ochole's character. That is the friend that she mingled herself with, the friend that came into her life, that scattered everything about her. Her Christian life, everything about her was shattered. Then she is evil. We say that this very girl is evil, though an exceptional intelligent woman. We're made to know that she is intelligent and who knows how to go in and out of problems. Even when she finds herself into one problem, she knows how to get herself out of it because of her intelligence. She was intelligent. Then she was famous for some bad deeds.